Welcome back to another Drag Race Quick Bite. I'm Jack, and this week is roast season. Unfortunately, due to prior commitments, I can't do the thing where I edit half the video and then watch the episode and give you my thoughts, but I will give you my thoughts a little bit later on the channel. But that still doesn't stop me from doing the first part of the Quick Bites where I talk about the challenge in general, and I am so excited because I love the roast more than anything else. Roast on Drag Race used to be a pretty infrequent challenge, only popping up every couple of seasons, but within the past year, there have been so many. There have been stand-up comedy challenges for years on Drag Race, and then the roasts are kind of sprinkled throughout, but now it seems like they're going hand in hand. If one season has a roast, then the next season will have a comedy challenge, or I guess in this case, now we get 2 roasts in a row, and I'm not complaining about that at all. I love the stand-up comedy challenges, but roasts are so ingrained in Drag Race community and culture that it's just perfect for a show like this. The queens are already constantly reading each other, so you just kind of twist it around a little bit, put it into a format, and boom, you have a perfect challenge. I think more so than Snatch Game, roasts can really show the strengths of a queen, and also where a queen doesn't do that great. Doing bad in Snatch Game, yeah, people remember it, but doing bad in a roast, it feels like it's going to be remembered forever, and there's so much more pressure on it because you're in front of an audience and you can't really hide behind not doing a character well because it's literally just your jokes up there. It seems like such a hard challenge, so if you do good, I respect the hell out of you for it. So today, I want to look at all of the roasts and even rank them because I love to rank things. There have been 7 roasts over the course of Drag Race's franchise, so I want to rank them worst to best. I'll be talking about the highest highs and the lowest lows and what is like consistently the best roast out of all of them. But before we jump into it, here's a word from our sponsor. I'm happy to say today's video is sponsored by Scentbird. Scentbird is a subscription service kind of like Netflix, but instead of subscribing to get shows, you subscribe to get fragrances. Just like how Netflix has a wide variety of shows and movies to choose from, Scentbird has over 600 brands working with them. And you can choose from any of these brands in just a couple clicks. It's a really flexible subscription service, so you could skip a month if you want to and then come back without any penalties. You can choose a new fragrance, either a perfume or a cologne, every month for just $16. And what's amazing is Scentbird carries top designer brands like Dolce & Gabbana, Prada, or Versace. But you also get a really good mix of indie brands too, like Vince Camuto, The Harmonist, and Confessions of a Rebel. There is such a huge variety of scents, so I know that one's gonna work for you and you can really express yourself in the way that you want. But if you don't really know which one you want, they have a simple quiz that can help you find your answer. The company works with all of these brands directly, so you know they're 100% authentic. I know a ton of people who have half-finished bottles of colognes or perfumes lying around their room. I asked them about it and they're like, oh, I liked it, but not enough to finish it. And what's crazy is these fragrances are often over $100. But let me show you the Scentbird bottle that the fragrances come in. It's this bottle right here, which can last up to 30 days. It's way bigger than a tester bottle, but if you don't completely vibe with the scent, you're not wasting a lot of money. This month I received Milk Plus, Dirty Hinoki, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, and Atlas. Once again, I can't get over how cool these bottles are. They're like little twisty things. I could play with this alone for hours, and they come in these little cute pouches. It's just like all around really great presentation. I was really trying to experiment with my scents, so I was going for like a wide range of like fragrances and like a lot of different combinations of things. So something like Milk Plus, it comes with cashmere wood, musk, tonka bean, marshmallow, and amber. I think my personal favorite though is the Atlas one because it is like a rich cologne. Like it smells like such a high quality cologne that you could really envision like a really cool person wearing. And if you're feeling a little spicy, you can even upgrade to get 2 or 3 more scents a month. But if you're interested in starting off with one scent, you can use my code JackFed for 55% off your first order. That's just $7 for a luxury scent that could last you on average 30 days. I think that's a steal, guys. Now let's get back to the video.
No.
See? You fucking suck!
I'll start out by saying I don't think there's a bad roast at all. I think that there's just some that are stronger and more consistent than others. So coming in last place, I have the roast of Brooklyn Heights. Canada's Drag Race Season 2 is an amazing season of television, but sometimes the girls fall flat, like with the roast and Snatch Game, and I think that it's just not a great showing for them. There were only 2 queens that absolutely killed it in Isis and Kendall, and then the rest kind of fell flat. Even with that, I don't think Kendall and Isis were the best of the best. I think Kendall deserved the win, and if Isis timed herself better, I think that Isis could have also won, but I just feel like every other second, every single queen was throwing in an F-bomb or just like swearing or cursing, and I'm like, that's not needed. You don't need that for emphasis to make your jokes funny. This was especially true with Kendall because she had really funny jokes, but it seemed like she felt the need to throw in an F-bomb every single time to make it more funny, and it felt like she wasn't confident in her jokes.
Almost as useless as getting a makeup critique from a drag queen that doesn't even paint her own fucking face. Brooklyn Heights!
And then you get the spectrum of joke telling where some queens went in so hard and the jokes just were not it. And then you had other queens who just didn't go hard enough and they just kind of came off as lame. I don't think it's bad, but compared to every other roast on this list, there could have been a lot more done.
Make me laugh.
I'm still waiting.
I know, I'm like.
That was the joke. Okay.
So coming in 6th place, I have the roast of Lady Bunny. The concept of this roast is amazing. I think Lady Bunny is iconic and has been around forever, and obviously is a best friend to RuPaul, so the jokes really write themselves. The unfortunate part is that only 3 of the 6 roasters did well. Manila, Monet, and Mo all completely killed it. I think they were really funny. They had some great jokes. They had some great prop gags too. They were all really funny with that, and I think that's really what saved them. A lot of the girls actually had kind of costume or prop gags, but anyway, I'm getting off on a tangent. The thing that just kills this roast for me that I didn't really realize until watching it back a couple times is the edit of it. This is the only roast where there's constant music in the background and it kind of throws off the pacing of it. It might just be a me thing because I really love to edit, but having music in the background, it doesn't make the jokes land as well, and it's also just kind of distracting. Normally for roast, there's a setup, a punchline, and then the audience laughs, but here it's setup, punchline, small laugh, and then immediately into the next joke.
Or as they know her down at the clinic, Patient Zero. She was often called the Beyonce of drag, not because she was rich and beautiful or famous, but because she looked like she was carrying twins.
All Stars 4 overall has a very interesting and weird edit where there's just constant music and constant sound effects and everything, and it's kind of overbearing, and there's no exception here. So to me, the great performances are kind of muddied by the edit, and the bad performances just get even worse. Even with that, I still think that the top 3 really killed it, with Manila having one of my favorite jokes of any roast. It's just hard to go back and watch have 3 people not do so great and have constant music playing in the background.
The only thing getting old is these jokes.
Coming in at number 5, I have the Pearly Gates roast from UK Series 3. The biggest issue is that it was long sets with only 4 queens up there. So the queens that didn't do that well were up there for so long, and it was just kind of dragging, and even the queens that did well, some of their jokes kind of dragged too. It was just hard to fill the time that they needed with only 4 girls left. Other than the pacing, I thought all the girls did pretty good. There wasn't one person that absolutely bombed, and I think that's the best part about this roast. Even someone like Crystal, who went in knowing that she probably wasn't going to do that great, still had fun with it, and even when she got the jokes turned around on her, she was still a really good sport.
Rue said that Crystal was born to do drag. And Rue, can I tell you what Crystal was not born to do?
What?
She wasn't born to do an acting challenge, snatch game, a sewing machine.
And that brings me to my favorite part of the roast, the heckling. Where someone like Brooklyn Heights says, "I'm still waiting" to Pythia, and it kind of throws them off, here the heckling kind of added to the jokes and everyone was laughing along, and it was just a really good time. This was the first roast in a while where it felt like it was a family. It was the whole cast together and everyone was just there to have fun and get roasted, and that was the best part of it. And it made it all the better when someone like Ella got heckled and completely reversed it again back onto the person.
Still younger than you, darling.
Shut up, only by 3 years, dear. I might be 32, but I taste 18, let me tell you.
It was the end game, it was right before the finish line, so someone like Vanity, though she probably wasn't gonna make it, she still went up there, had fun, and went out with a bang. All of the queens and the judges just being there and heckling and just laughing at everything, it just took off a lot of the pressure of the roast and was overall a really good time, even if the pacing was a little off.
Now, Rue has complimented me on being gorgeous and young and good at what I do.
Not anymore!
You're the one bombing!
Coming in at number 4, we have the Nice Girls roast. It's an amazing concept, inviting the girls back who are some of the sweetest girls or some of the fan favorites. It's just so smart, and again, the jokes write themselves. Rosé, Candy, and Mick all absolutely killed it. I think Mick was my favorite of the night. And then the other three were, I don't know how to put this. I think Simone and Liv both kind of fell into their characters and their shticks and what they were used to kind of doing. And then Utica, man, oh my god. I don't think Utica was as bad as they led on, but some of the jokes did not read that great. And it brings me to the main issue of the roast, the fact that there was practically no audience aside from the people they were roasting. It just kind of made a tense situation if the jokes didn't land, and oh my god, if no one was laughing in the entire room, the pressure would just be on and you probably couldn't recover from one bad joke. Still though, I think it was good and it could have been a lot worse, and we got the iconic Lonnie Love heckling moment, so, you know, I'd take that over anything.
Let's get this roast a cookin'.
The top three are so hard to rank because I think they were all really great, but coming in at number 3 is the roast of Michelle Visage. I think 5 of the 7 queens had pretty good performances. I know Trinity and Valentina were not great, but it was better than All Stars 4. And then you had Farrah and Alexis. Oh my god. It was just iconic for how bad it was, and it's gonna reign true for another entry on this list, but the queens that did well just, they knocked it out of the park. I don't really know how to describe it, but Shay, Sasha, and Peppermint's jokes just really played to the audience, if that makes sense. Like, the jokes were funny on their own, but the way they delivered them and with the audience there, it just made them 10 times funnier.
Just remember, if you liked my performance, my name is Shea Coulee, and if you hated it, it's Nina Bonita Brown.
And then it's like the complete opposite for someone like Pheromone, whose jokes didn't really play with the audience, and like the whole Michelle Visage's breast joke, like she had the people clapping, and then it just made people confused. Shay, Sasha, and Peppermint just kind of read the energy of the room and flowed along with it, and that's what helped them do so well. It also helps that they just had a natural charisma to them, including Nina too, whose character had this like energy to it that made it funnier than it could have been. It's overall just a great roast that I think solidified the roast as a challenge that they could always go to on Drag Race. I think the roast of RuPaul, which we'll talk about next, sorry spoilers, that was a great start, but it could have just been a one-off challenge. But when they tried it again for Michelle Visage and the queens did really well, they were like, okay, we can do this a lot more.
It's a great book, Michelle. Said no one.
Can I get a gay man?
I already spoiled it. Coming in at number 2 is the roast of RuPaul. Talk about a great introduction to the concept. Jinx, Alaska, Coco, Detox, and Ivy all did so great, and then even the people who do bad like Roxy and Alyssa were hilarious. Yes, they buried Alyssa in that edit, but I wouldn't want it any other way because it's so funny. And I think the reason that it works so great is because RuPaul was totally open to getting roasted. Sometimes it feels like the judges or just the people getting roasted are on the offense, and that doesn't make a great environment for the people who are supposed to be making jokes about them. So when RuPaul is just there completely dying at jokes, calling her old, that's when you know that it's a good environment and everyone can really shine. It also helps that I think the top 3 of this episode each could have won this challenge so easily. Alaska opening the show, not really knowing exactly how it's gonna go and then completely killing it. Jinx just, doing Jinx, being amazing. And then Coco putting on such a funny character. They were all just some of the best roasters I've ever seen.
It's going to be a great season.
So you may be thinking to yourself, Jack, that's literally every roast that's from the show. Like, there aren't any other roasts left. And yeah, you may be right, but there's also kind of a spin-off that I want to talk about because it is the best roast on the show. Coming in at number 1 is the roast from Secret Celebrity Drag Race. Secret Celebrity Drag Race as a concept of a show is so interesting because obviously they're not going to edit any celebrity bad because, they signed onto the show in the first place and they're like taking the time to do it, and also no one's getting eliminated, so obviously everyone's going to do pretty well at the challenges. Do I think that these celebrities wrote every single joke that they performed? Probably not, but they all performed them and they performed them so well. The fact that the 3 queens that were there, Kimchi, Bob, and Nina, were not the highlights of the show says so much. Not a single joke missed. They were all so funny. They were all funny in different ways. None of the jokes really repeated themselves or they built on them. Like, oh my god, the Michelle Visage joke.
Some of you may not know this, but visage is actually the French word for face. Oh. Michelle, obviously, is a French word for wrinkly.
Visage is such a beautiful name. I didn't know it was French for face. That's A bold choice, Michelle. Usually you pick a name that accentuates a positive trait. But I suppose Michelle's shoulders doesn't have the same ring.
And again, the environment was just so great because obviously they weren't eliminating anyone, so they were just completely receptive to taking the jokes. Oh, it was so good. Again, even if the roasters didn't completely write their jokes, the way they delivered all of them, it felt like they were professional roasters. And then you add Bob the Drag Queen, Kim Chi, and Nina West as accents to these already amazing performances, you get the best roast of all time. I can watch this back to back to back for so long. If you haven't seen it, please go check it out. It is on the RuPaul's Drag Race YouTube channel for free. It's so funny. Every single joke lands. You won't regret it. So because the timing is really awkward and I can't completely give my thoughts on the new episode in this video, I just want to talk about the roasts in general and how they are on the show. I've sung my praises for them, but now I want to talk about the edit and how it could really change a roast. Like I brought up in my Snatch Game video a couple weeks ago, they could completely edit a person's performance to make it worse or better than it actually is. Do I think that all of the Snatch Game performances on season 14 were worthy of elimination? No, but they wanted to push the storyline of the Lip Sync Lollapalooza, so they edited them to be kind of like that. And it's the same thing for roasts too. I did videos a couple months ago of me kind of flipping the roast and making like Pheromone's roast funny or Alyssa's roast funny, and then making Peppermint's not funny.
Where the hell were you when somebody asked you if you wanted to write that book? Honestly.
And then there were people in the comments being like, oh my god, these are edited so well, I could totally believe this. And the thing is, that's me editing an already edited show. So there's no telling you what they could do with footage that's unedited and make someone like a lot funnier than they actually are. I don't know, this may be a conspiracy theory, but sometimes I think, oh wow, someone's not doing that great, but they are laughing at every single joke, and I'm like, maybe I'm wrong, maybe they actually are funny, or maybe it is just the edit. Something can always be a little different with just a laugh track, so always be aware of this in the edit and know that, you know, sometimes someone bombs, but they actually didn't do that bad, or sometimes someone did extremely well, but, you know, they were just throwing a laugh after every single joke. Overall though, I don't think there's an unfunny person on Drag Race, and I think that anyone could really excel in a roast if they're given the right timing and the right jokes. People sometimes just get a little boost or a little kick to the ground. Anyways, I'm rambling at this point, let me just finish this off. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate you sticking through this whole video. Once again, check out Scentbird. It's the link at the top of my description. You get 55% off for your first order. It's just such a great deal. And now I'm gonna go use these amazing scents and impress my friends with how good I smell. I'll see you guys soon with a new video.